All right, so we're ready to kick off. So this morning, we are honored to have Senator Joe Bellino representing the 16th District, which includes most of Monroe, Lenawee, and Hillsdale counties, to welcome you. Prior to being elected to the Senate, he served 3 terms in the Michigan House of Representatives. He's a lifelong resident and community leader of Monroe County. Senator Bellino is a graduate of Monroe Catholic Central High School and Monroe County Community College. He also owned and operated Broadway Market in Monroe for nearly 23 years. Please help me welcome Senator Joe Bellino.
Thank you. Before we start this, can we pause for a second and thank whatever higher power you have out there for the presence of being here today and being sober, clean, and helping other people? Thank you. I know some people are probably wondering why I'm here. Is it election season? Does he need votes? No, but I'm here to talk about Senator Bellino and what he was like a few years ago. I got this big title now. I'm a big shot in my own mind many times, but when it comes down to basics, I'm just a drug addict, alcoholic who happened to get sober one day. I was 24 years old. Well, let me back up for a second. When I was 18, and people in recovery can identify with this, when I was 18, it was brought to my attention by my theater instructor at college that I may have a substance abuse problem. We didn't say substance use back then. I abused drugs and alcohol, and he was correct. But I fought that diagnosis for 6 more years until my life was falling apart. And one day my father, my boss, the only reason I had a job, said to me, if you don't clean yourself up and get some help in the next few days, I'm gonna fire you. Well, I couldn't handle getting fired. I was engaged to get married in a few months. It's June of 1983, and I knew I had to do something to get the fire off my rear end so I could learn how to drink socially and drug socially. So I went to counseling. In the first meeting there, I told the counselor, here's what I want. I gotta quit smoking dope. I smoke all day long. I spent $140 on an ounce of Colombian last week, and it's a lot of money, and I don't make that kind of money to spend that. I gotta quit smoking dope. I don't have a drinking problem though. See, I sold booze for a living. I sold beer and wine for a living. My family had a distributorship. I don't have a drinking problem. I get my booze for free, so I don't have a drinking problem. But I know my wife thought that was funny too. What I really want to do though, is I need to just cut down on the cocaine to just twice a month because I enjoy it, but it's ruining my life. And what had happened is that I became a thief, a very good thief, never got caught. Your Honor, never spent a day in jail, never got caught. And the last year I was using, I spent 80 grand on cocaine. I was making $28,000 a year. So I was a pretty good thief. I wanted to cut down to twice a month. And my counselor, smart girl, she said, smart lady, she was a lot older than me. She said, Joe, why don't you try that, see how that works? Great, I got an idea. I'm gonna change my life. I'm still gonna drink because I get booze for free. I'm gonna quit smoking dope. I'm gonna do cocaine twice a month. It's gonna work out great. Yeah, about 4 days later, I was trashed and didn't know where I was and couldn't find my car. And so I had to make a couple more changes. About 6 days later, I was in rehab, thinking of ways to figure out, trying to use my brain. And if you're an addict like I am, the more you think, the worse it gets. But I wanted to think of ways to figure out how I could drink and drug and not get in trouble. Because as an addict, I changed when I did it. I changed the drugs, I changed my drinking, I changed the brands. I went from gin to whiskey to vodka. I'd smoke Colombian, Indiana ragweed, Thai stick, whatever I could get. I tried to figure out where the comfortability was, and there was none. If you knew me back then, my life was like this. I was way up or way down, way up or way down. I was a typical functioning drug addict. I was paying my bills, but my life was in the shitter. So I went to rehab, spent 28 days there. Got out, started going to 12-step meetings. It wasn't easy. I'm not an AA virgin, meaning I put it down and never picked up again. The first year and a half was tough. I was in the booze business. For older people there, back in the 80s, we had a product out there called California Cooler. It turned over the whole alcohol market. It was this punch they made with fruit juice and all this crap in California, and we sold billions of dollars worth of that stuff. It was incredible. It sold more than Budweiser. It sold so much. So when it came to Michigan, I had to go to that meeting and try it. I took a sip. I got depressed. A few weeks later, there's a meeting on Seagram's wine cooler. I took a sip. I got depressed. And that depression was a gift from Jesus for me. You can call your higher power, you recovery people, whatever you want. For me, it's Jesus Christ. It showed me that I couldn't do it. I embraced a couple older gentlemen to help me out. And that's why today, 42 years later, I go to 3 or 4 12-step meetings a week. Because people were there for me when I got there. And they helped me get on my feet, helped me to learn to deal with my disease on life's terms and not use alcohol and drugs to settle what was going on in my brain. Because us addicts and alcoholics, we know that once we put it down, that shit don't stop up there. I make jokes that I drank and drugged because there were 4 people talking between my ears and they wouldn't shut up. Today that doesn't happen unless I'm on the golf course. Then those guys flare up and they start talking and my golf game goes to hell. I kept going to meetings. I surrounded myself with some sober people, support people. Long before we talked about peer recovery, I had these guys who were my peers who were helping me recover. And they took me to meetings. They took me on golf trips. They took me on retreats. They told me I was a sick person that needed help. And after a couple, 3 years, I started believing them. And I'm here today. I've been married 43 years. What year is this? Whatever, October 28th is my anniversary. I got married a few months after rehab. Even though they tell us, don't make a major decision that first year, I knew I was marrying the right lady. She had a solid family. They were good people. They weren't crazy like my family. Now, as it turns out, my family wasn't that crazy. It was me that was the crazy one that thought they were all crazy, but that's life. I got better emotionally. I got better in sobriety. I started learning how to give back. And after 4 years of sobriety, I thought, I can't sell booze the rest of my life. This doesn't work. There's a conflict here. So I got this wonderful job working for a Catholic charity in Detroit called St. Vincent de Paul. We were at Gratiot and McDougal. And my main job every day was to take in people in need, poor people, and give them furniture and clothing. I learned so much about life, how much I was blessed those 6 years, 3 weeks, and 2 days that I worked there. And I remember that exactly because that job was a life-changing job. Now, the Catholic charities, like you all know, don't pay for shit. So I had to get something else later in life, but that was the greatest gift God ever gave me, was working in the ghetto. It was perfect. After that, I started saving money when I got sober, and I got lucky, and I was able to buy a liquor store. Joe Bellino, drug addict, alcoholic, owning a liquor store. Turns out, when you own a liquor store and don't drink, you can make more money. And that was a wonderful experience for me. But even then, as a young man, I wanted to save the world with my liquor store. So I always used paper bags first 10 years I had the store, no plastic. I love paper. Why did I love paper? Because I kept AA big books under the counter. And I had customers that had problems. And I wanted to help them. So when I started this, I had 30 big books. After 2 months, they had no big books left. So what would happen was that you would come in, you were blasted, you'd look away, I'd put the alcohol in, throw the big book in, give you the bag. You get home, what the hell is this shit? What is this? I had good intentions, but you know what? It was stupid for business because the people that got the big books never came back. I was trying. I met a guy about 10 years later, and he said to me, I think you're the guy that gave me my first big book. I said, where'd you get it? At Broadway Market. Yeah, that was me. But I quit that after a while because it was hurting business. My main job in life today is not being a senator. Yeah, I got this highfalutin title. I don't like it. I like to be called Joe Babe. And I'm Joe Babe because I can't remember anybody's name in this room. I mean, the tall guy back there, I know he's the tall clerk. I don't know, I forget his name, but he's the tall clerk, so I just call him Babe. I can't remember names. I don't know if it's the cocaine, the drugs, or whatever, but I can't remember names, so I call everybody Babe. And when I got the job at St. Vincent de Paul, I went from a job with 12 people that looked exactly like me to a job with 140 people that didn't look like me, and I couldn't remember anybody's name. So I started using Babe. And that was 40 years ago, and I've been saying Babe to everybody ever since, and it's only got me in trouble 3 times, so that's okay. I beat the odds. As my attorney in the Senate says, when they do sue you for calling them Babe and take you to court, don't worry, you're going to have a lot more people on your side testifying than they will have on their side, which is okay, because I treat everybody the same. You never know where sobriety is going to take you. I owned my store and didn't like what was going on with the big markets. They were passing laws to give Aldi's, Meijer, Kroger, all these liquor and beer and wine licenses at all their gas stations and stuff, and I didn't like it. So I went to my representative, and he said, well, I don't care about small stores, just big stores. So I ran against the guy. Turns out, you have a liquor store, it's a great place to give out signs. My wife and I, we decided when we bought the store, we were going to give away 1% of our sales to charity. Turns out, when you take care of nonprofits in your county, people like you. They respect you. And that 2-term Democrat that got 60% 2 elections, he got 44% against me because I was just a good human being. And God was watching me. But I didn't know what I was up to when I got to Lansing. I don't stay in Lansing. I drive home every night, back and forth, 106 miles, because nothing good happens in Lansing after 8 o'clock at night. So I come home. Finally, I got time's up. Okay, I'm not gonna quit yet. I'm the senator. Who the hell are you? I got one more thing. You never know what's going to happen in life. So I'm clean and sober a little while, and our family Facebook page, my brother-in-law puts out that he needs a kidney. He's down to 11%. He's not a good candidate for dialysis. He needs one bad. And I felt bad for him because he was my spiritual advisor when I first got sober. Great guy, spiritual as heck. And so I waited a couple days because all the nieces and nephews who were a lot younger than me, they needed to sign up first and save his life. I'm an old man. I was 65. They don't want my kidney. But you know what God did? He kicked all those bastards out. And next thing you know, I'm going through testing. And last August, I gave him a kidney. Only because I'm sober. Only because I have somebody running my life, and I don't run my own life now. I try to do what I can for my people in Lansing, and my people are sitting right here. Addicts, alcoholics, driver responsibility fees, 1 DUI expungement, things like that I worked on, because I have a love for what you went through and gone through, because I've been there and I'm there every day. So thank you for being here. I hope you come up with some good things to help people out. And remember, it's not a stigma. It's just a little disease. Thank you.